Everybody ready? All right, camera speeding, and action.
Jacob.
Rob, the lad.
Jacob Teller.
What's going on?
Two-take Teller.
Two-look teller, two-take teller, however you want to frame it, man, however you want to say it.
Three-look Teller.
Every now and then I'm feeling a little risky. I do the three looks, but you know what? We should probably save that.
Yeah.
You got to stop going overboard with it, you know? Just get the looks out.
Well, I mean, okay. Is that like, for a replay operator, is getting three looks taken like is that like the big one?
No,
it doesn't matter.
That's just us showing off, man.
Yeah,
I feel like, dude, in any other broadcast, like especially if you're on the truck, I feel like you're not even dealing with two looks. You're not dealing with two angles at all. They have multiple operators. So, I mean, it's rare that you're going to be showing three looks off of one system, you know?
Yeah.
So we get the opportunity, at least Family Forum, to, you know, mess around like that and try to show off and do our best.
Yeah.
And I like to test the limits, you know. I just want to give it, you know, my best. And I think it's fun. You know, it gets your adrenaline going. If you're showing three looks, it's, you know, it's tough, but it's something that, you know, has taught me, you know, how to test my limits and how to do, you know, my best at all times. And even then, you should only do two looks. But Jeremy and all the other directors are cool with it. It's fun to do, you know.
Why should you only do this? All right, see, I didn't even know truck broadcast had more than one replay operator. I didn't know that was a thing. I thought there was always only one.
Yeah,
so
I didn't know
more
either.
than one.
There's sometimes up to 4 people.
There's
one
operators.
guy. There's one guy producing the packs. There's one guy showing two angles. There's another guy that has two angles that he's showing.
Yeah.
It just makes it a lot easier, you know. So
I mean, that sounds easier.
yeah.
So okay, so then I guess that makes it more impressive when like we're doing like three looks off of one operator.
It's fun, man.
That's sick. Okay. So what do you mean? How is that not like the shit when that happens?
Dude, it is the shit. But you know how I am, man. I don't want to be the guy to show off, but when somebody brings up the opportunity to do three looks, I'm like, hey, let me give it a shot.
Yeah.
Let me see how hard it is. And I pulled it off a few times, but two looks that's about how it should be, you know.
Two is what we're shooting for.
Exactly, because the show caller, especially on certain shows, you know, they don't want to see three looks. You got to get onto the clips. You got to get onto the game.
Yeah.
So you really got to be quick. You got to be able to fit those replays in fast. Don't put too much pad on the front end or the back end. You got to be quick with it, you know. So
I love that. I love that. See, these are little tips, little interesting things.
Let's get you on replay, man.
I'm not thinking about that. I mean, you know, I think I could do replay. It's a lot of pressure, man, and that I don't like. Every position that we do is pressure. Is a high pressure position because it's all live. It's all happening as we're you know, it's all happening in real time.
Yeah.
Replay seems a little bit too much. Especially in fucking Desert Dogs, where you got people yelling at the back of your head, you know? Like,
yeah. You got everybody stepping on each other.
I need three looks now.
Yeah. You don't have any more angles? Well, you only gave me 4 angles, so what do you want from me? You know?
Yeah.
It's a little bit nerve-wracking for sure, but
all right, Jacob, what is your astrological sign? What is your zodiac sign?
Oh, man. I had a feeling this question was coming. I'm a Virgo.
Virgo?
Yeah, Virgo.
So are you... Oh man, I hate that. I hate that you're a Virgo because the first thing I want to say is, are you a pain in the ass?
No, man, I'm organized. I'm always prepared. I'm a helper, dude. I'm a helper.
I know you're not. You're actually not a pain in the ass, which is why I reacted like that.
To some people, I'm a pain in the ass for sure. I can tell you that.
In your personal life, are you a pain in the ass?
Oh man, you ask any of my family members, I can be a pain in the ass, man. Yeah,
okay.
I like to push the limits. I'm just myself. You know, that's how I was raised.
Okay, so you know, I must say, all the Virgos I know, very creative people. Very stubborn people. Okay. Would you say that you're stubborn?
You hit that on the nail. I don't like to be stubborn. I'm trying to learn. I mean, that's kind of how my dad is too, but I can be stubborn for sure.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Moving on.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Let's just
I'm just being honest with you.
Just assassinate your character real quick.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's just get it all out the way now. I'm a very friendly guy, I feel like, but I can be stubborn. I get it.
I mean, there is no one I think that I would rather have there on my team when something goes wrong than you. I mean,
that means a lot, dude.
You remember when so here's a quick story. I was working RF. I can't remember what it was. It might have been G League. I was working the RF camera, which is the wireless camera, and I turned on the camera, and the camera's not working.
Oh, I remember that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you came to help me.
Yeah.
and we figured out like, okay, we're gonna go get we're gonna go get the other RF camera. Then we're gonna get the SMPTE cable from camera 3.
Yep.
Bring it down, run it to a different panel, so that the cable will reach out to the I think it was the power plant. If it was G League, it was the power plant.
It was the power plant.
It was the power
Yeah,
plant.
we had to get to that shot for the opening.
Okay, so if it was G League, it was the power plant, and get a shot of JB. Shout out to JB.
Yep. JB, we love her.
And we get the shot, and I'm like, fuck yeah, we got the shot.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I'm like, we did it. We came together. We solved this problem.
Yeah.
And then right after that shot, I hear on the radio, they're like, oh, RF's working. You can come in the back now. And I'm like, oh, okay. It must have been that simple.
Yeah.
I get back there, and RJ tells me, he's like, listen, we're keeping it on the low, but you plugged the SDI cable into the
Simple
wrong.
They happen.
Bro, I was so crushed that I did that, you know? I was so crushed that I did that and caused that whole because in that moment I'm like victorious. I'm like, we had this problem, we solved it.
Yeah.
The whole team came together and we solved this thing, got the shot, all good.
Yeah.
And then come to find out I caused the problem.
Such a simple error, dude. It happens all the time. Like, it happens with all of us, you know. It's bound to happen in production, you know. And it only makes us better, you know.
Yeah, it
I didn't know
does.
it was such a simple fix, but we worked around it regardless. We could have gotten through the whole show with how we did it, but I'm glad they fixed it faster than necessary. So.
And you know, and it's we've had this kind of several conversations like this on this podcast already, and it's like those are the things that, you know, I'll never do that again.
Exactly. You don't make that mistake again.
So you gotta do it wrong to, you know, once in a while. You gotta do things wrong once in a while to really lightning strike you into like being on point and never making a mistake, you know, like with, you know, and it's progress. You know, it's we do things, we mess them up, and then it's like, okay, now I understand how that works, how it goes when it goes wrong, and I know what not to do. You know,
exactly. That's been my biggest thing since I've gotten into production is like you just got to learn from your mistakes. And it even goes further back than production itself when I was, you know, at a restaurant or whatever. Just don't make the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
You always got to I like to say you don't freak out, you figure it out. You just got to have a plan. You got to learn from your mistakes and just don't panic, man. I mean, that's the biggest thing with production, and we work on such, you know, big shows at times. Whether it's big or small, it's like you cannot freak out in the moment. I don't care if you're the camera operator, if you're the director, if you're the Daktronics operator, just figure it out. And if not, rely on your people. I mean, that's my biggest thing, man. I mean, we got such a good crew. No matter where we go, I feel like we got such good people that are, like, willing to help, willing to jump into the fire with you. And, man, that makes everything so much better. And that's why I think we always improve and we get better with our craft because it's our team. It's the groups that we work with. It's the show callers, the stage managers. It's you know, our camera operators. It's everybody that we work with, man. I think we're really lucky, like, to be in the situations that we're in. And Vegas is, you know, one of my favorite cities. Not even my favorite city. It's where I'm born and raised. I'll love the city till the day I die. And I have a lot of pride and I have a lot of passion when it comes to putting on for our city and putting on for our team, dude. It's amazing. That's what I'm here for. That's my why, you know.
Hell yeah, man. I love that. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And I love don't freak out, figure it out. I love that. I love that. That's a great mantra, man.
Hey, man. I mean, I learned it from one of my professors in college, but yeah, it's something that stuck with me. I mean, since college, it stuck with me for sure.
Who are your top 3 MCs?
Oh, man, I love this question. I was hoping for top 5, but now it's making it a little tougher.
Top 5, I've realized that's like a whole podcast.
It's
like, it's too much.
Yeah, you
so
can dive deep
3
into
is
all
good.
of them. Okay, so Nas is one of my biggest MCs that even growing up, man, the Lost Tapes, Illmatic, Stillmatic, those are albums that I kind of grew up on. I love that. And number 2, not in any order. I shouldn't say
so many
number
people
2.
I know are gonna fucking love that you said Nas. I just want you to know that.
Dude, Nas is, man, it's the real deal. But number 2, it's tough, but Kendrick Lamar, man, it's not even about what happened recently.
Yeah.
It's just, dude, like growing up, Kendrick Lamar he's the best, you know, to do it in my era at least. And I feel like top 3 MCs will be different for you. It'll be different for anyone else, you know. But for me, it's for sure Kendrick Lamar, and then Tupac. I'm gonna throw him in there. I wish it was top 5, man. But Tupac, it's like, how can you not put him on there?
Yeah.
Same thing with Biggie, and one of my favorites is J. Cole. I mean, him and Kendrick Lamar have always been, like I said, that's what I grew up on as well. Is J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, and J. Cole was influenced by Nas. So
That's
it's
true.
only right that you put Nas, in the front running,
Yeah,
So.
I love J. Cole. I have a problem with Nas because I firmly believe that Jay-Z, like between Takeover and Ether, Takeover is a better song. And that for somehow that's a hot take. Somehow that is a hot take.
Yeah, okay.
But I firmly believe that. And so ever since then, I got a problem with Nas.
Okay.
But
I respect that. I respect that.
I will tell you what though, Nas, deep into his career is still excellent.
That's
excellent.
what it's about.
There's very few guys that have that kind of longevity.
Yeah.
Distant Relatives is one of my favorite albums ever. And if you haven't listened to it, have you listened to that? Distant Relatives with Damian Marley?
I've listened to a couple songs on there. I'm not going to lie. I haven't dug deep into that album just yet. So
Listen to that album.
I will.
If you're watching, listen to that album. That's one of my favorite albums of all time.
Okay.
And that was like really late in his career. Like, I mean, it's, now that's an old album, but
is that the one, the black and white cover? Correct?
it's black and gold, I think.
Black and gold. Okay.
Yeah. Great album. Love Nas for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Great choices.
I like that
those
though.
choices.
Hey, but what you said though it's true. Is a lot of artists water down their discography, as time goes on. But I mean, I feel like Nas and a lot of other rappers continue to keep putting out that same level of good quality hip hop, good quality rap. So I like that.
Creativity is very fleeting, man.
Yeah.
Some of us can channel certain things and do it consistently throughout our lives, and some of us receive this burst of whatever it is, magic, and then it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Either they lose the passion for it or lose the love for it, or it really is some kind of energy that moves through them and is delivered through them, but it's fleeting, man. It's really hard to grasp it and wield it.
Yeah.
You kind of either just have it or don't.
Exactly. But it's just taking that first step. Like, I give you kudos for what you got right here, man. I mean, taking that first step, starting something new, you don't know how it's going to take off, but you do it anyways. And I mean, that's something that it's hard for any of us. I'm not going to say I'm like this creative genius. Like, everybody's kind of got that doubt in their mind, but that's what makes it fun. That's what makes you creative is, doubting what you do. But like I said, I give you kudos, and I love being here, man. This is a great opportunity.
Thanks, man. Well, don't look behind me, because behind me is like 100 things that I started and didn't finish and didn't follow through on. But that is the thing. It's like, in order to know whether or not something is for you, you have to try it. You have to execute on it. And I think that I'm not fucking preaching here, but I think that because I do the same thing. I'm not saying that I don't do this, but we create excuses for ourselves in our mind. We're like, I can't do that because this, I can't do that because that, and you build that voice gets loud if you listen to it enough.
Louder and louder. Yeah, it's gonna. You can't bear yourself with excuses and doubt and all that. You just gotta. I don't know. I can't even say it myself because I have, everybody struggles with that kind of stuff. But you definitely just got to, be confident in where you go with things. So, yeah, it's a big deal. So taking that first step is major.
Yeah, it is. And it is really the hardest one, too.
Yeah.
Once you've taken the first step, you're in. Then you just either you keep going or you don't.
You got to keep rolling with it. Yeah, exactly.
So you are a replay operator.
Yeah.
Do you replay embarrassing moments in your head?
Oh, like just in life?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, man. I'm not doing it in slow-mo for sure, but
not slow-mo.
Oh yeah, no. There's always gonna be, right after you make that mistake or something embarrassing happens, you're like, why did I do that? And then you try to replay it in your head, and I'm not, scrubbing back and giving myself two angles, but I'm definitely, like thinking about it in my head. You always got that image or that. Yeah.
Why is it like that, man? Why is it like, like great stuff that happens in your life, it's like the further away it gets foggier and foggier, but like something you did that's embarrassing at like 8 years old, it's like, oh my God, crystal clear. You never forget it.
That memory's never going to go away. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's just what makes you better. I mean, you're going to learn from those kind of things, whether it was when you were 8 years old or now, but I don't know why it's like that, but some of us are just, like that. We just, replay the bad moments a little too much, but we got to focus on what, the good happened or what good has happened. And I feel like, it's good to have people in your corner that remind you about that kind of stuff, because otherwise you might just replay the bad moments all the time,
Yeah.
So, but it's really good to just, have that balance. It's always about that balance.
Are you the coldest camera operator on our team?
Dude, We're not doing this, Rob. We're not doing this.
Come on, man.
I could name 3 camera operators that I learned from. I mean, multiple, honestly.
Name them.
Oh, you want me to name them? All
Yeah.
right. Cortland, David Schlager, Mark Bolden for sure, man. That's another guy that I don't know. When you got good people on your crew, I always try to not take notes. It's mental notes, I guess, but I try to learn from everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, the moment
Hell
you
yeah.
got on the crew, I'm like, look at this guy. This guy's got, camera experience. He's got a website, all this stuff. You just kind of try to build off of other people's, what they do. I don't know. That's what I told Mark Bolden even. I was like, I try to mimic your shots. I try to, take notes from your shots, and I try to do it my own way. But I see how you do it, and I see what works.
Bro,
especially when
yeah.
I was brand new to the crew, man. I'm the youngest guy, one of the youngest guys on the crew. So I kind of take pride in the fact that, I got, good people in front of me that I can learn from, dude. I mean, I feel like that's kind of how this industry is. That's how media in general is. Like, of course, there's millions of people that have all these bright ideas, and we see so much on our feeds. And you're bound to kind of learn and not take from other people, but you're bound to, make your own things out of other people's ideas. And whether you're the creative genius or not, it really doesn't matter. I feel like it's just, you got to learn. You got to not have so much pride and just learn from other people. It's huge to me, I feel like.
Yeah, you do, man. And that's like, listen, there's nothing, I mean, not that you're saying that, but there's nothing wrong with taking inspiration from the people around you. That's the whole point.
That's what I'm saying. It's inspiration.
Yeah.
Like, you're a product of your environment. That's how I look at it. I mean,
between the camera operators that we work with on our team and just watching sports through a different lens,
that especially,
I'll pick up stuff all the time that I'll try out at a game,
Exactly.
and it's like some stuff works great and some stuff it's like, all right, well, let's not do that.
Exactly. That's what I love about it. Like you said, you're watching sports, and I mean, I'm a big sports fan. That's why I got into the industry, and like watching whatever sport I'm watching on a broadcast, like you can take so many ideas from like a truck or another show that we see, whether it's related to sports or not. It's just you kind of can pick up on other people's expertise, so.
Is there a single sporting event in the city that you haven't worked?
Oh man,
you're at everything. You are never not there when I go to work. Never.
I love that. Okay, I mean, I don't think about it often, but I mean, I haven't worked any NFL games yet. That's one of my favorite sports. I've worked college football. I've worked, I've worked a lot of events, but one thing I haven't worked yet is an NFL game. That's something I'm working on right now. I'm trying to get into Allegiant Stadium staff, but I guess I'm at a lot of events, man. I'm grateful to be at these events. The city's blown up. There's so many opportunities, and the timing not on my part, but just once I finally got into the industry, it couldn't be more better. It's perfect timing, I'd say.
It is, man. We're in a very, very formative time for the city, and especially in the world of sports. 100%. And you're 23 years old.
I'm 23 years old. Yeah.
How are you this good at this many things? That's not enough time? How did you do that?
The people around me, man. It's what has helped me the most. And I went to college and I studied visual production. You don't need a college degree to get into this field at all. But I was fortunate enough to kind of know what I wanted to do going into college. I got into journalism, and luckily they had a great department. They had all the studio cameras you could ever want. And, I just took a liking to camera early on, and I kind of just kept building from it and networking and all that. And once I got into the field and got into freelancing, which I was never told about in college, it really opened my door to like, wow, I can be in all these arenas, making my money and learning new things. But I think that's what makes it so much easier to, diversify and learn as much as you want. And I shout out Foley Entertainment Group because, they've given me an opportunity to learn audio, learn camera, learn replay, and who knows what else I can learn,
Love Foley.
that they give me an opportunity to learn. And there's plenty of productions that I've been on so far that, I'm lucky to be on, that has helped me build.
Hell yeah, man.
So,
I love working for Foley, man. I say it all the time. I don't just say it because I think that people from there may be watching. I mean it.
It's not about that.
It's like you said. I feel very lucky to be working with a team of people that care about what they care what they do, care about doing a good job.
Yeah.
Show up, want to be great, and are willing to work together. I've never even in the slightest bit encountered any kind of like ego jousting or any weird behavior like that in anyone on that staff. So that's great. Shout out to them. And that's a big testament to Katie's work too. She's she selects the right people, you know, and she's very, very good at that.
You got a hell of a crew.
Hence
Yeah.
the Emmy Award
Oh.
that she won.
Yeah.
You know?
Who would have thought, man? Great crew.
This is such a fucking stupid question, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Oh, here we go. Let's go. I love it. Let's go.
Buckets, Chance, or Lucky?
Oh, you can't do these kind of questions, man.
Why can't I?
But guess what? Luckily, I'm not at the head of any of these teams.
Right.
I'm just a freelancer. So, you put me on the spot. So you said Buckets, Chance,
or Lucky.
Or Lucky. I got a lot of love.
All great mascots.
Got a lot of love for all three of them. There's something about Buckets and the way he gets the crowd going and just his energy. I think he does the most, and it's not a bad thing. I think he does the most when it comes to running around on the court, driving in his go-kart. He does a lot, you know. And then not only that, he's doing shots. I mean, I've seen him hit a behind-the-back shot, like from half court.
Yeah.
And he doesn't make them all the time, but I've seen him do it. And the guy practices. I've seen the man practice beforehand. So that's kudos to him. And, I mean, you can't knock Chance.
The rabbit.
Yeah.
Not the man. The rabbit.
The rabbit, yeah.
Seen the rabbit
or the hare,
practice.
or whatever you want to call him. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, no, dude, that's kudos to the mascot himself. But Chance is who he is. I kind of got to know a little bit about what he's done previously, and he's been a mascot for other teams. So that guy, I mean, it's easy to pick him as well. I just admire. I've been around Buckets a lot, and I've been around like just the Aces a lot too. I mean, Golden Knights as well, but I'd like to say Buckets, and that's no disrespect to Lucky or any of them. Lucky does a great job. I mean, he's good too. So.
Yeah, Lucky is I will say that. First of all, I love Buckets. I think Buckets is the best in the business. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Just say it, yeah.
That's it. Say no more. And of course, Chance is one of the best mascots in the NHL. 100%.
Very professional. Yeah,
Lucky
he's
though,
great.
Lucky's crowd interaction is top tier.
Oh my God,
he's
dude,
a savage.
He's funny. I love seeing him on the ice. I mean, that's another thing too. I mean, he's on the ice being a goalie or shooting and everything, so he's doing what Buckets is doing as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, the energy of these mascots. I couldn't imagine being a mascot. Honestly, you gotta give them kudos.
Yeah,
honestly,
man, that's not an easy job at all,
Not
man.
at all,
the
man.
social battery, the physical energy, even just the heat of being under that mask, you know, like.
I've seen Bluff one time
what
getting
mask?
out of it.
Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
those live cartoon characters running around. Never mind.
That's a cartoon character. There's no person in there, man. There's no way.
Yeah, no. That's definitely a rabbit and a Gila monster and a horse for sure.
Hey, man, but yeah, I couldn't imagine being in there. It's got to be hot. There's no joke.
So, as a camera operator, how do you know you got a great shot?
I mean, it's just you got to have an eye for it. I feel like you understand that 100%. I mean, once you see that I think I've heard you say this on a podcast, but once you see your shot like in preview or you get that green tally, it's like, oh, he likes my shot. And then once you hear ready, whatever camera you're on, it's a good feeling. But you just know, I mean, sometimes your shots aren't going to be taken, but there's moments where you're like, dude, this is perfect timing. It's a great shot. It's framed right. There's no way they don't take it. And when they don't take it, man, it does kind of suck.
Yeah.
But, hey, man.
Get pissed. I get pissed.
It's a part of the game, you know. We love what we do. And
yeah.
It's a lot on the director, too. I can imagine that's a goal that I have, to be that guy. But to have to dissect all those cameras that you have, and we're talking, we only got 4 or 5 on shows, and there could be even more if you're working for a truck. But it's a lot of work on their part, too. So I try not to be too upset when my beautiful shot doesn't get taken.
Yeah, that is the thing. I mean, you know, the directors they really do a lot, man. Like you're looking at several screens, sometimes up to 6, 7, 8 screens at once. Plus, you're not only talking to your camera team, you're talking to your switcher, you're talking to the show, you're talking to production, audio. Like there's a lot going on there. So you know, it's easy to be like, well, you know.
But we got good directors.
I'm not the main character right now. I am the camera.
That's the biggest thing, man. And like, I think a lot of us have that issue. And there's guys that work for trucks that come to in-house and they think every shot they have is better. But I've been told by other guys on our crew, like, you might think you have the best shot, but what if this guy has a great shot too?
Yeah, you're not seeing everybody else's shot all at the same time.
Angle. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, and we all want to be great. So it's like, so we all want our shot taken because we want to be great.
That's our crew right there, dude. That's our crew. Like,
yeah.
We all want to be great, and that's why we all push each other, you know? So I love it.
Yeah, I do love that too, man. This is a question I'm kind of asking not only for myself, but I think for other camera operators. What would you say is the secret to being a great tight follow? Because I think it's really, you know, I suppose I shouldn't name names, but out of the camera operators I've seen, watched their actual tight follow, which is not of all of our guys.
Yeah.
Out of the ones that I've seen, I think it's really you and Eric are like the top of tight follow.
I appreciate that.
And this is not, you know, like I've watched your shots. They're clean. They follow. We're talking like really. You're very tightly zoomed in. You're following very smoothly. You know, you follow the puck to the net. You stop. You know, like you stop at the right moment. You zoom at the right moment. You get the hero shot. Like that's not easy. It's not easy.
It's not. It's preparation for sure. And
so yeah, what is the secret to that?
Yeah, you know, I'm not perfect by any means, and I have a lot to work on. But it's preparation. I feel like when you're setting up your camera, you got to make sure the pan. I've messed up before where my pan was way too loose, and I'm like my shot's just shaky. So you got to make sure that pan's tight enough for you to be able to be smooth when you're panning back and forth. And that goes for tilt as well. And that's the biggest thing. And number two, man,
this is good. This is good stuff.
Any camera operator that's done, you know, a lot of operating and stuff and has been on trucks, it's you got to have one eye kind of on the screen, on your, you know, on your screen, and then another eye on the game. And that's like the toughest part. Once I was told that, it changed everything for me, man. Whether I'm on handheld or I'm on tight follow. That's why I love doing tight follow. Yeah,
Let's go.
Man.
I didn't know that. I don't do that.
No, it's a game changer, and a lot of guys don't. Like, you got to have your camera, and I've seen it with all the truck guys. Like, you have to have your viewfinder or your. I keep on forgetting the name, but you got to be above your camera. You know what I mean? You don't want to have the screen. You don't want to be under your camera. You kind of want to be above it, so then you can look down. And this is for baseball, which I've recently learned. Like, if you're on like high home and you're watching that ball go out of the park, you're not going to be able to look through your camera and, like, see that ball the entire time. You need to watch and just have the instincts to follow that ball. And I'm not great at baseball by any means, but I've been catching on with baseball. And then hockey, that's just a different animal, really. But, yeah, it's just keeping one eye on the screen and one eye on the game. And instincts, man, you got to know the sport. I feel like everybody knows that. And I don't know baseball to save my life, but I'm learning. So, yeah, knowing the sport as well.
It's wild that the more it's very interesting. The more you learn the sport, the better you shoot.
Oh man, the more I love the sport too, man. It's crazy. Like I didn't really. I'm not gonna say I didn't like baseball growing up. I wish I would have played when I was growing up, but I'm starting to love the game of baseball a lot more. That was definitely at the bottom of my list. Excuse me. And it's growing. So I
never really was much of a sports watcher. Like me and my friends would, you know, I'm of course from the era where you went outside and played with your friends.
I was luckily a part of that a little bit, so for sure.
So you know, my friends would literally show up on their bikes. They'd have to knock on my door because we didn't have cell phones. It's just like, you know.
I'm glad you brought that up.
The real shit. Like you know, they'd show up on bikes, knock on my door or on my window. I'd come out. We'd go to the elementary school nearby my house, and we'd play tackle football and fucking stickball and handball and basketball.
Did we live the same fucking life or something? Like, because I'm not kidding, man. When I got an elementary school right across from my street. I went there when I was growing up, and I mean, I had a group of friends, and I'm blessed to even have all these guys that were in my life. And we, you know, they'd show up on bikes. We'd mob it down to, you know, the park and play football, play basketball, play soccer. And I mean, so many great bonds came from that. And I mean, I have friends to this day that I grew up with in the same neighborhood that I still keep up with. You know, and I feel like, man, that kind of shaped my love for the game, man. It's the camaraderie. And like you said, man, I mean, you didn't watch a lot of sports, but it's about just playing them, you know, having fun. So I'm so glad you brought that up because I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, man, I was lucky enough to have a good childhood, good friends growing up. So, yeah.
That's such a positive way to look at that. I should be looking back at that more and
dude, I mean, it's not every day you're looking back at it, but dude, it's cool. It's cool. I'm also the youngest of 5, so I mean, I was the.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 5, so I had 2 brothers that, you know, roughed me up and taught me.
That's good though, man. That's good. I'm an only child, so
really.
I didn't get that growing up. I had to get that out in the world, and it's more difficult getting it out in the world because you're an adult.
Yeah,
but when you're an adult, when you're a sensitive adult, life's hard. You know?
Oh man, 100%, man. And it's not like I have all these friends, you know, to this day that I hang out with, but it's like. You got to find your family. You got to, you know, get along with your coworkers, and you kind of make your own family. You know what I mean? You get a lot of good connections, a lot of good friends out of that. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah. Why does everyone like you so much?
Oh man, a lot of people don't like me too. All right,
that's not true.
Maybe that's not true. Yeah. Okay. Either way, see, these are the questions that I wasn't prepared for, but I knew you were gonna, you know, it's okay. Why do people like me? I don't know. It's just a matter of. You know, being who you are, not holding back. and making sure the people around you can trust you, the people around you can rely on you. And one of my biggest things I kind of just want to put on for not only my family, my friends, but my coworkers, like anybody I come across that I'm working with, collabing with, whatever it is, I want to put on for them. I want to put out the best product. I want to be, you know, someone that they can come to for advice or just chatting shit. I don't really care. I just want to be not a pillar in their life, but just someone they can rely on. And I think a lot of people can rely on me, and I think that's why it's something that people gravitate towards. And not only that, but I'm not going to say I have a good personality, but I feel like I can get along with just about anybody, man. I mean, you give me the chance to talk to you one-on-one, I guarantee we're going to find something in common, and if we don't, we're still going to be able to have a conversation.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it, really. I mean, like I said, I'm the youngest of 5. I had a lot of friends growing up. I learned what not to say around people and what to say around people and how to not overstep your boundary. I think that's one of the biggest things why people don't like me is because of the fact I don't overstep my boundary. I like to make people feel comfortable, man. Like, I want to feel comfortable, so why would I be judgmental towards somebody or, you know, turn away from somebody? Like, the moment I get on a crew, like the moment you got hired, man, I wanted to first know your name, kind of want to get to know you. I'm not going to be pushy about it.
Yeah.
But slowly I want to get to know the people on our crew. I don't care if you're an introvert or an extrovert. I'm going to get to know you in some way. And it's not about you liking me. Let's just be comfortable around each other, you know? Let's make work easier.
Yeah,
you know? So
absolutely. Ease the tension, especially even if they're you know, because there's always tension when it's newness, especially among like coworkers. It can be tension because there can be people that are coming on feel threatened by the people that are there. People that are there can feel threatened by the new people coming on.
Yeah.
So there's tension. It's natural.
It is
so
natural.
I am 100% all about like, yeah, let's diffuse that shit immediately.
Exactly.
Like even if there's something like if I come off like weird or aggressive or something during a game and it's towards a person, or if I make a mistake, I try to go right to that person and say like, hey man,
that's the biggest thing.
Like my bad, you know,
exactly.
like my bad. I was going through this, like, you know, it's nothing personal against you. You know, I apologize or whatever. Or like that story with the cable.
Yeah,
you know, RJ says we're keeping it on the low, and I was like, nah. And I walked into the control room and I apologized. I was like, listen, guys, my bad. The cable was my thing. Like, I just found that out. You know, it won't happen again.
Anytime I make a mistake, that's the first thing. Even if the people that, you know, saw me make the mistake are saying, oh, it's fine or whatever, it's kind of big on me. Like, I gotta own up to that and just move forward, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's just a big thing that you brought up right there is just, you know, telling people, you know, my bad. I made the mistake. And I also liked what you had to say about, you know, coming in and there's always tension when you're brand new. I try to alleviate that, and I didn't like it when I came in when you got people that are thinking, oh, he's going to take my job.
Right.
Like, if you're good at what you do, you never got to worry about losing your job. And everybody's replaceable, but do what you can to make yourself indispensable. And, you know,
absolutely.
Most definitely.
Absolutely, man. And you know what else? You know, and that comes down to confidence, and not everybody has confidence. And here's advice. Here's advice for you if you are not confident. Just pretend to be confident.
Fake it till you make it. That's what
that'll work.
Exactly.
Promise you that works.
How are they going to tell otherwise? You know what I mean?
Just pretend.
Just pretend.
And then eventually you'll really be confident.
Yeah.
And no worries.
Wise
you know?
words from Rob right here. I love it, man. No worries. I love it.
So, okay. Do you have a nightmare scenario that you went through maybe in your early days or whenever that you can recall?
Like a nightmare scenario in
like
work?
Like in video production, yeah.
Oh, man, dude. I have bad dreams sometimes of being in T-Mobile Arena, and I got Chavez yelling at me, where's the replay, where's the replay? And I'm down on the first floor, man. Yeah. It's just weird nightmares like that. Yeah. That's just something weird.
That's a great night. Have you really had that nightmare?
I genuinely, like, it didn't happen often. Like, when I used to work in the restaurant, I'd have nightmares, and other people that have worked in food service, you have nightmares of, like, somebody's asking for a drink or some food, and, like, you're empty-handed. You don't even know where it's at. It's just one of those weird dreams, but
Jeff, get out of Jacob's dreams, Jeff.
Dude, I mean,
go back.
It's tough, man. It's tough, you know. But I feel like it's normal. You know, I've been at T-Mobile enough to, you know, you have those scenarios in your head. Of course, not like that. But yeah, nightmare scenario would be like not having the angle, or like you accidentally press live and now he's asking for the hit, or he's asking for the two angles and you don't have anything.
Yeah.
Or it's a camera shot and you miss the hero. That's not a nightmare. I mean, that happens. But, yeah, I mean, a nightmare scenario would definitely be, like, yeah, just not having an angle or
But that's not
Not
your
being
fault, though, if
prepared
you don't
for
have
it.
an angle. Like, it's just
I shouldn't say it like
the
that.
cameras didn't get it, right?
Let's say they do have. Okay, no, at T-Mobile you're always going to have an angle, especially with truck. That's what I'm
True.
trying to say is like if you accidentally, lose that angle
Like,
moments
scrub it.
before he's asking for it, that is a nightmare of mine. Like you don't imagine that, like he's asking for it and you're like, I don't have it. I don't have it. You don't
Yeah.
want that.
Yeah,
you
don't want to say I don't have it. You want to say
exactly.
goal or what it was. Like
Yeah.
what are the channels at T-Mobile? I don't even know.
Red. No, it's red to gold, man.
Red
It's red to
and
gold.
gold?
It's
Red
like
and gold,
there's
okay.
nothing in red, and then it's like, oh shit, I pressed live. That's a nightmare scenario. And then, I mean, of course, like, not having the angle on your camera or breaking your camera, that'd be a nightmare, right?
Oh, God, don't
if you're,
even-
I couldn't imagine, but
That
that's
just
a
made- that
nightmare
just made me
scenario. You know
chill.
what I
It gave
mean?
me
It's
chills thinking of that.
I can think of many, but I feel
Yeah.
like that's what makes us good. You got to think of like the inevitable. You never know what can happen, but that's what makes you better. You're prepared for it. I mean, I'm not saying I have bad dreams all the time, but those are some nightmare scenarios that I would not want to happen.
Fucking A, man.
Dude,
We're gonna have to bleep that out, but fucking A.
Oh, we got to bleep them out? I think I've cussed a few times. That's on me.
If it only if it makes it into like an Instagram reel. For YouTube, it's fine.
Okay, I love it.
So on the flip side of that, what would you say is the highlight of your career?
Oh, man, highlight of my career. That's a tough question. I mean, I got multiple highlights, and I feel like they're not major highlights, but like just working for the productions that I'm working for, being able to work the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, I worked that entire run. I was fortunate enough to be put on every game from the
Yeah, because
beginning to
every
the end.
game in the entire city, you work.
Not all the time, but I was fortunate enough. Our crew wasn't as big last year, and I was fortunate enough. I don't know how, but I got to be put on every single game leading up to the final game. I think I missed one because I had to work audio at then the Dollar Loan Center, Lee's Family Forum now, though. And I had to work there, but that's definitely one of my biggest highlights, working for the Raiders headquarters for their production. I mean, that's about as cutthroat as it gets, and I'm grateful to be able to be a part of that production as well. I mean, but I feel like I don't have a lot of highlights. I mean, following a lot of my shots, I have some shots in my phone where it's like, that right there is one of my good shots. And, like, I try to get it from the replay monitor or whatever. But those are some highlights. Graduating from college, that was big. It was big for my family. I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college. So that's one that's kind of big for me, I feel like. It's just, once again, putting it on for my family. I want to make them proud. And one day I want to give back to them, and not just them, but to my people and anyone I can,
You're the first person in your family to graduate college. That's amazing, man.
Yeah,
I love that.
It was big for me, and I didn't want to do it. And if I would have known I didn't need that degree to get into production, I probably would have never went through with it. But I'm glad I did go through it. It's kind of made me better at networking and all that, and I got to meet a lot of good people from UNLV. So, man, it was a good experience, man. That's definitely a big highlight. But I feel like I don't have enough, not
Fucking
yet.
A, man. 23 years old, college graduate, worked every game of the Stanley Cup Finals.
It was a hell of a run.
We'd
man.
love to see that, man.
Fortunate enough to do that. So
Killing it.
appreciate
All
it.
right, one more thing. For the kids, the people that are like 3 years younger than you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want me to give advice now?
For the young people
God.
coming up who would like to have worked one of the world's biggest sporting events by the time they hit 23, what would you tell them?
Once again, be confident. Don't doubt yourself too much, and really just network. Whether it's getting into the biggest sporting event or just working a small minor league event, you gotta, when you walk in through the door, I don't care if it's the security guard, a food service worker, your boss, your fellow coworkers, you gotta just be friendly, greet them, say hello, just network, be yourself. And when you're in these big moments, once again, don't freak out, figure it out, but also just understand that, like, it's not the end of the world. Whether it's the biggest event or the smallest event, if you make minor mistakes, but at the end of the day, you need to be prepared. And that's one of the biggest things that I take pride in is I try not to make mistakes. And if I do have it happen, I try not to beat myself up. It's bound to happen, but I think that's one of the biggest things. I think that's what I would tell them the most is not only network, but number two is don't beat yourself up. I mean, when you get to that biggest moment, I beat myself up a lot leading up to just being in production. So once I got into production, and I didn't even work a finals or anything, I was just working my first night's game or at the Raiders, there's a lot of moments where you're learning, you're growing, and if you make a mistake, don't beat yourself up. Because once you start doing that too much, as we said before, it just becomes a little too much. It becomes a habit.
Yeah.
So, don't beat yourself up and just be yourself, network, and don't overstep your boundaries, Always be willing to learn. That's my biggest thing, too, is just be willing to learn anything. I don't care if you're not supposed to be a master at audio and a master at video. I know they're all separate entities, but they all come together for one, you know, production. So why not learn it? I'd love to learn stage managing and other things. I want to, you know, learn as much as I can. It's not about being a Swiss Army knife. I know you want to master stuff, but it's just learn as much as you can. And once you find what you like, do it to the best of your ability, you know? So I think I said a lot right there.
Fuck yeah, man.
I don't want to be the preacher, and I feel like I'm not one to want to give advice too much to just because I shouldn't be preaching, you know? I'm too young. I feel like a lot of people look at the young guy and be like, "Oh, what does he know?" And I think that's what it's like. I'll prove to you.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I'm 39 years old, and I look to you. I look up to you. I love your work.
Rob,
I love your work.
You
are absolutely a mentor of mine, and I really admire what you do, man.
Dude,
100%. I mean that.
Hey, vice versa, man. You know that. I mean, I've already said it in this podcast. It's what you do right here is big. Your website, the work that you do for Foley, and everything else, man. I learned from you just as much. And I think that's what makes our damn team so damn good. Okay.
All right, Jacob. So, please share your socials or anything that you're maybe working on that you want people to check out.
I'll just share my Instagram. It's jm.teller. Follow me on LinkedIn as well. I feel like it's a big thing, man. It's a professional network.
You're the only person that said that.
Dude, I mean, LinkedIn's a big deal. I mean,
LinkedIn. Get on LinkedIn if you're not on LinkedIn.
My profile isn't great, but I mean, that's where you can make a lot of connections.
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
100%.
Yeah. But I don't have a YouTube channel. I'd like to be like this guy one day, but steps.
Oh, yeah,
Small
steps. Yeah. I mean, you can be like me because, you know.
It's a lot of equipment, man. It's a lot of money.
We don't have a lot going on. We don't have a lot going on yet. We'll get there.
I hear you. That's what we want, though, man. We're trying to be busy nonstop.
Jacob, thank you so much for
hey,
coming on.
thank you for having me, bro. It was a pleasure, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, we did it.
Let's go.
Woo, yes.
Another one down, Rob.